Salwete, first graders. I have two lines here, and these are straight lines. Hopefully you can see that. You guys did some work a while back about how lines are in relation to each other. I wonder if you can remember what it's called if they're never ever going to meet, no matter how long they were. They would stay this far apart forever. Kind of like railroad tracks are a good example of this line. It's called parallel. So there's parallel lines when two lines will never meet. Well, what about lines that do meet and touch somewhere? They're called intersecting lines. So lines that cross somewhere are intersecting. Now, lines that meet at a very, very special angle is called perpendicular. It's like the perfect corner of the perfect square or the perfect box. It's called perpendicular. And this is a really easy one to recognize because squares are really easy for us to recognize. So if it looks like the perfect corner of a perfect square, it's called perpendicular. Well, I want to talk about another way that two lines can meet, and it's an intersecting. So these lines are intersecting, and you need to have, they can be rays, which means they both start at a certain place, but then they can go on and on forever, or they can be line segments. That's fine too. And these, as we can see, are line segments. These ones don't go on and on forever. They stop here and they stop here, but they both start in the same spot. They share a starting point. And this starting point here is called the vertex. So they share a vertex. And these lines can move in different ways, but they share that vertex. And I'm going to say a word that you have heard before and that I said a little bit ago. The way that we measure these is with how far around the circle one line is from the other one. You can see if it goes all the way back, it makes a complete circle. And this is called an angle. So this is what angle means. So this is an angle, this is an angle, this is an angle, this is an angle, that's an angle, there's an angle there, there's an angle here, that's an angle, 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 angle. Even all the way back around, that's an angle, called a whole angle. So an angle is about how far one side or leg or arm, I've heard these called sides, legs, and arms. So how far one arm of the angle goes around the circle from the other one. And I bet that you can think of something in your environment that this might remind you of. Does that remind you of anything? How about a clock? Look at the arms of the clock, the hour hand, the minute hand, and even that one that's going a little bit quicker, the second hand. Do you see how they all share a vertex? And as they move, look at that second hand, that angle is getting bigger and bigger and bigger as it moves. So clocks have angles. The arms of the clock, the hands of the clock, they make angles with each other. And if you have a second hand on your clock, you can see how the angle is changing. So in order to have an angle, you need to have two arms, and the hands of the clock are the arms. So this angle right here, it's getting bigger, getting bigger, getting bigger. But look over here, this angle, getting smaller between those two arms. Is getting smaller and getting smaller. Oh, and there's an angle over here formed by the back of the second hand that's getting really small. So angles are all about how the arms go around in a circular fashion and how far apart they are. And anytime you have two arms of an angle, you also have two angles. So this is an angle here, but that's also an angle. Angle here, angle here. Now, in order to draw angles on your paper, you need to use a ruler because angles have straight sides. That's one of the things about an angle. It has a straight side. So use a ruler. And your two straight arms of the angle need to come together in a vertex. So we have the vertex, the arms of the angle. We also need to, when we're talking about an angle, so here's an angle and also over here is an angle. So we need to mark which one we want to draw attention to. And the way that we do that is by doing a little curved line. And I like to do it in a different color just so that it stands out. So that shows me that I'm talking about that angle right there. That's the one I want to draw your attention to. I could have done that, and then you'd see, oh, that's the angle that she wants us to notice. And angles can be all different sizes. They can be big, small, wide, a little tiny. As long as they have a vertex that they share a point. Legs, there's two straight legs, and the size of the angle. So you want to show which one. See how I did it kind of close to the vertex? That's just how it's typically done. We don't want to do that out here. No, I mean, it's not technically incorrect. It's just not how it's typically done. So in order to do it the way that's considered proper, we put it right there. So that's an angle. I want you to take the paper that I gave you. It just has angle on it. And I just want you to experiment with drawing some different angles. And you want to use a ruler or something else to make your lines straight. Now, you might not have a ruler at your house, and that's okay. You can use a folded up piece of paper. You could use an edge of a box. You could use something cut from a piece of cardboard. I'm sure that your parents can help you think of something to use as a ruler, because the measurements on here are not what's important for this. This is just something that helps our lines be very straight. So your job is to take your angles paper and to just draw a number of angles all over it. And I'm going to change the camera and show you my paper so that you can just see me draw some angles. And every time you draw an angle, you want to draw the little curved line. You can do it in a color. If you want to do it in purple, go for it. Red, go for it. Green, go for it. All different colors, that's fine too. So just draw a bunch of angles and then make sure you draw the little curved line for the size of the angle so that I know which angle you're talking about.